So welcome to another fantastic day, highlighting another fantastic woman in our series From Hustle to Holy, How to Transform Your Business by Igniting Your Divine Feminine. Today, we're highlighting the beautiful Heather. Heather, thank you so much for participating and joining with us in this series on igniting our divine feminine. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and share my experience and expertise with all of the amazing women.
Good, and I'm ready to hear it all too. So everyone, Heather is a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and a behavior specialist. She's a personal trainer, she's a healer, and Heather's mission is to raise the collective consciousness, this is my sister, by helping individuals break emotional patterns. So this is really exciting in our conversation between masculine and feminine and our patterns and all that good stuff. So thank you again for being here. And before we get started on talking about the feminine energy and masculine energy, tell us a little bit about you, your background. Where did you grow up? How was your upbringing like?
Yeah, so I grew up in the Midwest. I am the oldest. I have 5 younger brothers. I grew up in a very, we'll just call it dysfunctional household. My mom and dad were very young when they had me. My mom had me at 17. And so because of life circumstances at that time were very challenging. And I had a lot of responsibility at a very early age. I went to Catholic school. I got diagnosed with a learning disability, got picked on a lot, had a lot of, traumas and challenges that really shaped who I became as an adult. And so as an adult, I allowed my life circumstances and experiences to shape what I thought I was worthy and deserving of as an adult. So I'll give you a little example. As a little girl, I'd come home crying from being tormented from my peers around, mispronouncing a word or not being able to read a sentence fast enough. And my grandmother would say to me, "Oh, Heather, it's okay. You're not smart, and that's okay, but you're pretty, and you'll always find a man to take care of you." So by the time I got into high school, I figured, what the heck? Why should I apply myself? I'm not smart. Some guy will want to take care of me. I'm pretty. So that's pretty much the story that I adopted as my truth. And so just like my mother, I also became a young parent at the early age of 19. I had my first daughter, got married, was in a very unhealthy relationship for a long time. And in 2009, I lost my biological father due to a lifestyle of drugs and alcohol. And that really got me thinking about my circumstance, my situation with my husband and my children, and what I wanted for myself, what I actually thought I deserved, and what I thought my children deserved as well. So I decided that I was going to get divorced. And this was like literally the scariest thing in the world. I had never taken care of myself, so I thought. And that, the thought of leaving a stable home and having, a husband and having a family, there was stability in that. So letting go of that was very frightening. And I was also in school, going to school. I think I was getting a master's at that time. There was just a lot of stuff happening. And I ended up getting diagnosed with cancer. And when I got the diagnosis of cancer, that really pissed me off. I was really mad because I'm like, wait, I'm a dietitian. Like, I have nutrition, I have exercise down. How did I get to this place? And that's when I realized that when it comes to our health and well-being, it's so much bigger than nutrition and exercise. It really truly starts with our mindset and being able to understand how our environmental circumstances impacted our mindset and our belief around who we can actually be. So at this time, I decided, you know what? I'm going to challenge all of this shit. I'm going to challenge the story of being the dumb girl. I'm going to challenge the story of being only a trophy wife. I'm going to challenge these stories, and I'm going to create what is meant for me. And so that's where my journey really began, to be honest with you. And in 2016, my oldest daughter, she was not in the greatest of places. I was getting ready to turn 40. And I realized living and growing up in the Midwest wasn't conducive with the kind of lifestyle I desired. And so I started asking the question, why am I here? Why am I even here? Why have I spent the last 40 years of my life in the Midwest? And I recognized I grew up with that mindset. You must be close to your family. Family has to be near each other. They have to support one another. And so I started challenging that. And I was like, how often do I actually see my family? How much is my family supporting
Right?
me? What does this actually look like? And I realized it wasn't what I thought. And so I decided to challenge it. And I took several months and went all over the United States looking for demographics that supported health and wellness and my practices and beliefs, and left California last because I didn't want to be biased. I had never visited California and was scared that, if I went there, I'd see the ocean and be like, yep, that's it. So I wanted to give everything a fair option. Everyone told me to go to San Diego. So I flew to San Diego, didn't feel it. And I was like, oh no, this is it. Like, this is it. And so I decided to rent a vehicle. I drove up the coast, and the moment that I rounded the corner from Dana Point into Laguna, that feeling that I had been searching for overcame me. And in that moment, I knew that this is where the next part of my journey was going to begin. And so I literally flew home, sold everything I owned within a matter of 3 weeks, packed my car and my daughter with what we could. I had $500 to my name and drove across country. And we drove straight 27 hours, got directly to the coast. I had no idea where we were going to sleep, how I was going to earn money. I just knew that this is exactly where I was supposed to be. And I trusted in that process. I believed in it. And I was open to receiving whatever came my way. And it was the best decision I ever made.
That is so beautiful, courageous, heart-centered, in your knowing, inner guidance, like all of actually not knowing, just trusting and just
Right.
going and just trusting that everything is just going to fall into place. That is so being in your feminine.
Yes.
Just and then just trusting in God, the universe, that you're taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is at that time, I was getting challenged by a lot of people. What do you mean you're moving to California? California is so much more expensive. And here I am barely making ends meet in the Midwest with, I think, at the time I had a big, huge townhouse, and I think I was paying like $800 a month for living expenses. And here I am wanting to move to California, where rent for a 1-bedroom is 3 times the cost of what I was paying for this big, living space. And so I had a lot of people who were trying to talk me out of it, but I trusted that knowing, that intuition that I felt within more than I wanted to believe all of the stories that were going around me, trying to convince me to fall back into old patterns and old programs that weren't serving me anymore. So I had to choose. I had to make the decision that, worst case scenario, I come back and everyone laughs and everyone makes fun of me and, says, oh, we knew you would make it. But here I am 5 years later, still thriving in California.
Job.
So
good job. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
girl. Yes. And you are thriving. You are absolutely thriving. You're living your purpose. You're helping people like big time with their health. So, as a business owner, there are masculine components to it. There's the structure of it. There's the making money of it, right? And so it's a really beautiful dance that entrepreneurs get to make. And even if you are not an entrepreneur just yet. But so how do you keep that in balance? How do you keep your masculine and feminine in harmony? Because we really do need both. It's just a lovely dance that they do.
Absolutely. And such a great question, Beth. The reality is I operated from my masculine energy for majority of my lifetime. I was stuck in that lower level of consciousness, well, actually the lower levels of consciousness, where we victimize ourselves. And then from there, we try to control circumstances in order to avoid judgment and pain. So I literally spent majority of my lifetime operating in these lower levels of consciousness coming from a wounded masculine energy. I was in survival state. My core fear was that I could not take care of myself, okay? And the programming that I received from my environment supported that story that I adopted, that I would never be able to take care of myself. I wasn't smart enough. I was never going to be able to acquire skills and knowledge that I would be able to utilize to financially provide for myself. I would always have to be dependent upon a man in order to financially sustain myself. And in my marriage, my husband would remind me on a daily basis that my existence in this world was because he allowed me to exist because he was the bread earner. He paid the bills.
Wow.
And so that was being conditioned and validated. These lower limiting beliefs were being validated on a daily basis until I decided that this was not my truth. I had to decide. It wasn't a feeling that overcame me. It wasn't some like aha moment. It was me saying, you know what? I'm not happy with my circumstances. Being in this state of survival sucks. At that time, when I got into the work field as a dietitian, I was working in the corporate world, working 16-hour days, six days a week just to make ends meet. And I was killing myself. My health was degrading on the daily because of this. And so I had to choose for myself that I deserved something better. I deserved
Beautiful.
something better.
Yeah, you did. And you did.
And I did.
And you made it. And it really is about just making the flat out decision and the choice that this is what I get to have. And
so I want to speak to it from an entrepreneur perspective. Okay. When I initially transitioned into becoming an entrepreneur and having a private practice and becoming a consultant, it was very frightening because there was no security. There was no certainty in terms of what I was going to be able to secure as a paycheck. So because of that masculine energy and my desire to control and need certainty, I decided to do things in my business that weren't truly in alignment with what my calling and path actually was. And as a result of me just taking whatever financial opportunity I could get to ensure that that number would be met for me to pay my bills, I was sacrificing pieces of me and I was losing my creativity. I was losing my desire. And there were many mornings where I was waking up going, what the fuck? Like, why did I do this? I don't want to be a dietitian anymore. I don't want to do this work. This isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not supposed to have so much resentment towards my passion, towards my profession, towards my craft. And then that's when I realized, you know what, Heather? Oh, you're falling into those old stories, those stories that you aren't good enough, that you aren't entitled to truly owning your craft and your passion and defining your niche and being picky and choosy with how you are going to exhaust your energy in order to accept some sort of financial compensation. And so I resisted that truth for a long time and I was struggling. And I finally decided one morning, this is stupid. I hate this so much. I either quit and start going and serving and bartending in order to make ends meet, or I get honest with myself and I decide to let go of the control and embrace that feminine energy that will allow me to nurture my craft, my passion, and be able to serve those that truly need my gifts, and they will fulfill my mission in. And then with that, it also started fulfilling my bank account. And I was like, whoa, wait, what's happening? And then I saw another limiting story come in. Oh, this is too good to be true. This isn't going to last. It's going to be taken from me, right? Like, you start to see where all of your stories start coming into play and trying to bring you back to that default survival safe state. And so I had to challenge again, go back, challenge the stories. And the more that I challenge, the more that I embrace, the more life just flows through me effortlessly. I'm able to balance my energies because I pick and choose how I want to use that adaptive energy.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. And it's so valuable to recognize, why certain things are coming up for us, because, it's a dance, right? That's the beautiful thing about self-awareness and recognizing when we're operating, how we're operating. It's really just stop and pause and really feel into it. And you were doing that, right? You were just
Absolutely.
like, this is not working for me. This is not feel right.
Well, the more I tried to deny my circumstances, the more that I tried to deny having to take radical responsibility, the more my physical body embodied pain and suffering. And this unfortunately manifested into physical ailments that could no longer be ignored. They had to be addressed. So when I was operating in that masculine energy and trying to secure a certain number at the end of the month in terms of income, I was giving all of my pieces of me away and exhausting my adaptive energy in places that weren't truly serving me. And when I decided to take that power back and pick and choose how I was going to show up in alignment with what my soul mission and purpose is, that's when all of the sudden the work that I was doing, the hours that I was putting in, they weren't as long and daunting anymore. I could, you start channeling things, you start opening up to the information and being able to just confidently trust it and present it. When I was stuck in that masculine, I was overthinking, I was over crafting, I was over designing. I wouldn't release the things because they weren't perfect yet. And being able to let go of that and embrace that feminine and say, you know what, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be. And if this is a piece of me that I have the ability to express, then that's the most important thing. And maybe someone will connect with it. But if they don't, it still served a purpose for me. And that's where the beauty and the value actually lies. I get to fill my own cup. I'm not seeking validation from others anymore in order to fill my cup. And so by filling my cup, I get to overflow and share with those that are open to receiving it.
Yes. So good. Now, and I follow you on Instagram, and so I know what you're kind of up to, but share with everyone who's watching and listening, what do you do personally to make sure that your feminine is nurtured and that she continues to stay ignited, right?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Such a great question. So one of the ways that I've been able to embrace and embody my feminine energy is through play. So I am a very playful individual. I am, my daughters and I laugh because they're in their early 20s and I'm in my mid 40s, and I have more energy and passion for life than they do most days. And they're like, Mom, how is it? How do you do this? And it's because I don't judge myself, or I try to not judge myself. I try to accept my imperfections. I allow myself a safe space to just show up and be me. And whether that's pulling out the roller skates and trying to roller skate down the block without breaking an ankle.
Love
Oh my
it.
God. Where did I go? I just lost you. Hold on. I'm sorry. You know, whether it's through something like that or pulling a hula hoop out and using the hula hoop as a way to move my body and move the energy and allow me to get into that flow. I was told I was never a dancer. I was told I wasn't coordinated. I tried to take belly dancing classes. I just wanted to be Shakira, man. I just wanted to be her so bad. So I take these classes, I buy the things. I've got the little, you know, things for the hands and the coin skirt and the whole thing. And I go do a class. And the instructor pulls me aside and says, sweetheart, there's something I need to explain to you. There are certain things in life that people are meant to do and not meant to do. And for you, this is one of them you are not meant to do. And I was devastated. I was heartbroken. And in that moment, that's when I shut down my feminine for movement and expressing my body freely. Wow. And so I had to choose that I needed to bring that back without judgment of how I was moving my body and just let it flow. So things like this, you know, I'm a big person who needs alone time. So my energy centers are open. So I act like a magnet and people are drawn to me, and then they release all of their negative toxic energy and take all of my good energy. And so I have to make sure that I know my thresholds. I know what my boundaries are, and I create that alone space so that I can replenish, let go of the negative stuff and replenish my own positive energy. And I'm able to do that through the use of crystals and through the use of taking baths and essential oils and meditation and oracle cards, and you know, the list goes on, coloring, painting, you name it. I've got a plethora of tools in my toolbox.
Your creativity flows, your creativity in play. I love watching you roller skate and all your fun stuff.
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. And the reality is most of us don't know how to connect with that inner child. And so the way that we heal and connect with the inner child is to think back to our childhoods. What were the things we enjoyed? What were the things that really brought us true joy, made us feel alive? And unfortunately, as we've aged, society have told us, you're not allowed to do those things. You're an adult. That's inappropriate. You can't do that. So I'm here to tell everyone to challenge those stories and reclaim those pieces of themselves that started getting stripped away at a very early age because of society pressure and expectation.
Perfect. There you go. Done.
Yeah.
Live it, play it, do it. So, you know, since coming into your divine feminine and working your business, how has that really transformed your business? Just really in a small piece. What have you noticed?
Well, it's happened very quickly, and it almost was overwhelming initially because, again, I saw those limiting stories coming into play saying the ball's going to drop. This is too good to be true. And so then I wanted to try and control and make sure that the momentum was staying consistent. And then I realized, you know what, Heather, you got to let that shit go. That's you falling back into those old masculine stories. You just have to embrace whatever is happening and know that whatever is meant to be is meant to be. You can't control it, but you can control how you respond to circumstances. So in my business, you know, I've had a lot of heartbreaks and heartaches and really unfortunate circumstances that have happened to me. And I've not allowed those things to defeat me, and I've not allowed those things to define my future growth. I still keep showing up despite the smacks in the face and the letdowns and the blows and the losses of $20,000 at one time and whatnot. I still keep showing up, and I'm showing up because I know that I am acting authentically with the gifts that I was given in order to serve the greater good so that we can raise the vibration of the collective so that everyone can be in a state of harmony, in a state of happiness, utilizing their gifts, sharing with others, and being their best selves. That's my passion. That's my currency. That's what I receive. And somehow as a result of that, there's been financial opportunities that have come, and, you know, and I'm open to receiving them.
Just being in that receptive mode, and there you are.
Yeah.
And so what are you doing now? Because you're supporting a lot of women in their health
actually in the process of expanding my business. So I have committed a huge portion of my practice and dedicating it to mental health and substance and recovery. So I work specifically with
wonderful.
eating disorders, disordered eating, drug and alcohol abuse, and individuals who are suffering with anxiety, depression, mental illnesses. So I'm teaching them how to retrain their brain so that they can start showing up and living their authentic selves and being able to just be in their best life. And so I do a lot of that work with individuals. So I work with many, many facilities here in Southern California. And then I also have private practice where I help individuals one-on-one. I love autoimmune sector because, it's something that I've personally experienced and I understand it to the core, the root of how it occurs. But women in general, I just, women, I'm committed to women and helping them undo these limiting beliefs, stop their self-sabotage so that they can start living their best life in the bodies that they actually desire. So I have an 8-week Retrain Your Brain program that I have launched. We're in the second phase now with the second group. The first one went amazing. So far, 2 weeks in, we're already seeing major, major things happening with this new group. So I'm going to be excited to start promoting the wait list for 2021, winter 2021, Retrain Your Brain. And then just individualized coaching as well. So all kinds of things.
Fantastic. And now you have a free gifted offer for our audience, right?
I do. So one of my passions is helping individuals reconnect with themselves so that they can start to make better, sustainable behavior choices in their life. And so many people desire to have healthier eating habits and be in a healthier body. So I have created a 21-day program called Healthy Eating for Conscious Living. So it's a healthy lifestyle to raise your consciousness. And it walks individuals through a 21-day process of being able to decalcify the pineal gland so that they can start becoming more open and aware to their actual innate intuition, that gut feeling that we all have, that we're all so disconnected from and ignore all the time. The purpose of this program is to help individuals reconnect with that so that intuitively they can start creating choices and behaviors in their life that are going to ultimately serve their greatest good and help them live their passion.
Thank you for that. It's such a generous offer. So,
yes, well, I'm
audience,
really passionate.
The link will be in here. So
absolutely.
Yes, I know you are. I know you
absolutely.
are. And so I want to thank you so much for you being a part of this series and allowing us the opportunity to highlight you, your gifts, everything that you're up to, because I know that you're up to the greater good with a higher mission for the best of all. And thank you for sharing your story. There's so much value in us as humans, as women, sharing our story, because it's that one person that hears that one thing that just shifts their life forever. So thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your vulnerability. And I appreciate you. Any final words before we close?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for putting together this platform to bring all of these amazing women together so that we can share our life experiences without judgment, because these life experiences have to be embraced. They have helped to shape us to become who we are. And through that, it's such a beautiful thing. And so I appreciate you putting this together and allowing us to come together and share and support. And I am so grateful to just be a part of just a small smidgen in the process of helping to empower others.
Absolutely. So thank you all again for joining us, and be sure to click on the link and grab Heather's amazing free gifted offer. Bye for now.